Okay, finally, a little kind of question that's not so numeracy heavy. You see the last question we did, quite a bit of numeracy in that. Again, a bit of numeracy and a little bit of numeracy there too. So practice your numeracy, make sure you're good with your fractions, percentages, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, all this kind of stuff. And now you'll find you're going to get easier marks, I would say, for more technical work. So multiplying, adding, subtracting, dividing, there's more work in that. But if you know the technical things, you're going to get some good marks. So for example, here we're getting 1 mark for how many employees worked 15 hours of overtime. And the skill here is to know that in a circle there are 360 degrees. So I've got 180 in here, I've got 30 in there, there's 90 in there. So just FYI, that then is going to have to be 360 take away 90, 30, 180. So that's going to come out as a little 60 degrees in there. Okay. Again, you can also think on this as fractions. It's quite a nice, looks, it's a nice cut actually. So if that was a pizza, you'd say, okay, well, this is half, isn't it? Yeah. The 90 degrees, that's a quarter. Yeah, it's a quarter of the pizza. And these ones are a wee bit trickier. For the, we're not really. I was looking for a 45, which would have been an eighth, but we can come back to those as fractions. But just look at your fractions as well. That can be quite nice. Sometimes that's an easy answer right away. So anyway, calculate how many employees work 15 hours of overtime. Well, we've got this slither of the pie here, so I've got 30 degrees. So I know that 360 degrees is equal to 72 employees. So I'm going to try and work down to get myself to 30 degrees, and that's going to tell me how many people. Yeah. So I could divide that by 2 and say, well, that means half the pizza and half the pie. That's going to be 36 people. Yeah. I could divide that by 2 again and say we've got 90. So that was a quarter. That's 15, so it's 18. So what I'm doing to one side, I'm doing to the other. Yeah. I'm dividing by 2. I'm dividing by 2. Yeah. And I'm dividing by 2. So that's the nice ones, 180, 90. To get from 90 to 30, I will have to divide by 3. Divide by 3. So 18 divided by 3 is just 6. 6, 12, 18. So that means this represents 6 people. Just check, there we go. Yep, so just 1 mark for that. So, that's not too difficult, I would say, with the numeracy, but you had to know there's 180 degrees in a circle. And what's the probability an employee chosen at random worked 9 or less hours overtime? Okay, so for probability, your probability is equal to the kind of favoured result, so what you're after, your favourable result, divided by the total number of results. Yeah. So we know we've got 72 employees. Yeah, 72. So that's how many we're out of. And then it's like, well, how many worked 9 or less hours of overtime? Okay, so let's see, there's 0, 4, and 5 times. So it's this slice of the pie here, isn't it? So it's the 180 and the 60. So that's going to be 240 degrees for that one. So I'd be saying, well, 360 is equal to 72. I'm trying to get to 240. So I would go for 120. I would divide that by 3. So dividing it by 3, I'll just double check myself. That will bust up. Maybe 2 and 4, so that's 24. And then I'll times it by 2 to give me 48. Okay, so I've started with the total number of degrees, total number of employees, and I'm trying to get to that 240 because I know that this is 180, and I did that earlier on. That's 60 because you have 360. Take away all of them. So there's 48 out of 72. Now that's almost you done it, almost, but you have to simplify that as much as possible. Okay. Now some people actually might have gone a different route and said, well, it's 240 degrees out of 360 degrees. You could have said that as well, your favourable out of your total. You could do it in degrees rather than in people. That's totally fine. In fact, that way might even be easier because you cancel the zeros. So 24 out of 36, and then they both divide by 12, so that'll be 2/3. If you did it my way, I would just say, well, they're both even numbers, so both divide by 2, so that'll be 24, and that'll be 36. Oops, still even numbers, so you divide by 2 again, so that'll be 12 and 18. Still divide by 2, 6 and 9. Divide by 2, 3. No, not divide by 2, sorry, divide by 3, so 2 and 3. So if you spot the divide by 12, you can get to the answer sooner. If you're not comfortable with that, if you're not great with your factors, don't worry about it. Just keep dividing by 2 if you've got even numbers. Okay, so the first thing you're getting is a mark for this 240 or the 48. So you get a mark for that or the 48, and then just simplifying down to your 2/3. Okay, so again, there's some nice marks to be had if you just identify, well, that's the number of people that are working 9 or less hours overtime. You can identify that and start the process. Then yeah, you're getting half marks already. So don't stress. Plenty of marks to be had. Plenty of marks up for grabs. I'll see if I can get question 5 done here. So Gillian thinks that 24 Fahrenheit is colder than -3. Is she right? Well, let's find them then. I'm not really good with Fahrenheit. So there's Fahrenheit here, a weird way of measuring temperature. I hate Fahrenheit, it's very bizarre. I think Americans use it quite a lot. And Celsius, the more common term. So let's do -3 Celsius. Okay, so if you look, we're going in, the big lines are tens, aren't they? And there's 10 increments in between, so each one has to be 1, and these ones would be 5. So if I'm going down to -3, I'm going to here. There's -3, isn't it? -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Yep. And 24 Fahrenheit, so there's 20, there's 30. This seems to be going in twos, doesn't it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 30. So there is your 24 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds quite hot, doesn't it? But apparently not. So Gillian thinks that that is colder, and I would agree that it's colder. Yep. So she is correct. Yeah. Gillian's correct because of above. Yeah. I would just say Gillian is correct. Gillian is correct. And I think it's okay if you mark on here. I'm going to check the marking scheme to see what it says. Yeah, you're going to get a mark for marking it correctly on here. Yeah. And then it wants Gillian is correct with justification. So maybe actually, I've not really said why that is. I think maybe we could just add that and say Gillian is correct as net as 24 is lower on the thermometer. It's lower on the thermometer than -3, something like that. But I think that should be okay. But yeah, that's where your second mark is coming. But it does say with justification, so I feel like you maybe want something. So the lower down we're going on this table, obviously the lower the temperature is getting. But yeah, and just clearly mark up your table there. Nice one. I think we'll stop here and we'll do another video for that one.